Hello my friends, and welcome again to my kitchen during this quarantine. So I got to thinking, how can I use these leftover sweet potatoes? This is actually going to be a first experience for me, so we'll go through it together. I figure, why not? I do always look up recipes, I get inspiration from other people, and then I tweak it to fit more of either my needs, my family's needs, or just down to ingredients that we have in the household. So today, I'm going to start with, I have my handy dandy blender out, the best way to mix. I've only prepared a few things so far just to keep these videos moving. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and here I just took the skin off a sweet potato. Again, these are leftovers. We had sweet potatoes and pulled pork last night, so don't want to have anything go to waste. So here is one whole sweet potato. Pop that bad boy right in there. Okay. We have 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. You don't have to melt it. Because of the blender and the high speed, it should mix it nicely. And sometimes too, when you make, I don't even think I said what I was going to make. I am going to make donuts. They're actually going to be chocolate donuts, but the base of it is actually the sweet potato. Okay. So that was 3 tablespoons of coconut oil. I should move my ingredients a little closer. Here is a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. I also have, let me just grab the rest of this here. 2 whole eggs. If you did want to make this vegan, you can substitute flax eggs. Okay. So the original recipe calls for coconut sugar, which I normally have on hand, but we've used it all. So I'm using Swerve brown sugar. Just so you know, I don't follow any particular diet. I too tend to look up things that are paleo or keto. I just like to live a lower, more natural sugar lifestyle in this household as best we can. We all do have sweet teeth, I guess you would say. You know, we all have a sweet tooth in this house, so we do like the sweets. So this is a nice way to ease into those sweets. So again, a 1/4 cup of what I used was brown sugar Swerve. Okay, we are going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Left my little scoopers on the other side of the kitchen. Okay, so 1/4 teaspoon of the baking powder. Okay, we're also going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Could have set this up a little differently to have all the ingredients closer to me. Okay. So 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. I used the grinder, so if you use a grinder, I feel like 5 or 6 of the little grinds equals about 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Okay, we're going to do, so for paleo, you would use arrowroot flour. You would use 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder. I'm actually going to do 2 teaspoons, or I'm sorry, 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch. That's roughly the equivalent. Let's get the 1/2. Okay. Okay, the last thing that's going to go in our blender here is going to be, trying to read this, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Ooh, went up my nose. 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So I did lie, I don't think that is the last thing actually. So 2 tablespoons of maple syrup right in here. You want to make sure it's the pure maple syrup, so we're getting that all good natural sweetness. Okay, I think the last thing was the coconut flour. Yep, 2 tablespoons. So note to self, always do the dry before the wet. So now I do have to rinse this off. Give me 1 second. Or you know what? I'll just use the 1/2 tablespoon 4 times. As the maple syrup drips on me, here we go for a rinse. As you guys see, I'm just a regular mom cooking on the healthier side and experimenting, because that's what it's all about. Finding what works for you and your family. And also at a time like this where we really don't want to be in the grocery stores, making the most of what you have, not letting anything go to waste. Okay, now we're just doing 2 tablespoons of the coconut flour. Okay, I'm sorry, of course it's going to be loud, and while it is loud, I will spray this handy dandy little donut pan with some olive oil spray. You can use coconut oil, avocado oil, whatever oil you're comfortable with. I like to use the olive oil. Like with pretty much any blender recipe, you're going to have to push everything down the sides. I can tell you that this does smell really good. I have to say, one surprising ingredient I don't see on here is vanilla extract. I feel like I put vanilla extract in everything by default, so it is very odd to me to not use vanilla extract. Though we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with the recipe calls for. I have to say, I can already tell that just by using that 2 tablespoons of the pure maple syrup, it does smell nice and sweet. See if it needs another scrape down the sides. The reason I'm keeping you all here is because we're also going to make a glaze. Now, you don't have to do the glaze really until the donuts have cooled, so we'll just run through it rather quickly once I pop this in the oven. Okay, so it looks well mixed. I can actually take this off of here, put it into our donut pan. I personally like to take the blade out, clean off the blade quickly. Now, if you want things to be even, you can put it in a pastry bag. You can do an ice cream scooper. I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I grew up in an Italian household, so we estimate. So I'm just gonna go right from the blender into this donut pan. Okay, I think I scraped as much of it off as I could. Let's see. Move this out of the view. So I can tell you, I would probably use a smaller spatula, or even, now I see why I recommend those things. Let me grab something smaller, like an ice cream scooper. Here we go. Fill these bad boys up. And you want to make sure not to fill them too much, because if this overfills and then gets plumped up at the top, you're going to lose the little donut hole in the middle. And after all, what is a donut without that little hole in the middle? My smaller spatula is dirty from using it earlier. But that would be perfect right about now to smooth everything out. But you know what? Just grab the back of a spoon. Let's do that. Learning as we go. Again, I am not a professional. I am quite the amateur. I'm a home cook. Just trying to make the most of the time home with my family and doing something that I enjoy. This is a passion project for me. I've always loved baking. So baking is my #1 love. Cooking would come second. You know, of course, to my husband and kids, I'm talking in terms of hobbies. Well, that's actually tough because CrossFit is my absolute #1 love. And then baking would come second. I really miss my CrossFit gym. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, I was really inspired to do these videos because of 2 women at the gym. Once we knew we couldn't go into the facility anymore, we decided to be each other's accountability partners. So checking in daily, encouraging one another to exercise while doing the at-home regimen that gets posted daily for us. We do have Zoom classes that are also offered at our CrossFit gym. I haven't been able to make them because, you know, my husband is working from home, and when the baby naps is when I can do my workout. So when he was napping at noon, it was perfect. I would take the noon Zoom class. It would be awesome. But now he likes to nap around 1:30. But anyway, I know I've digressed here, but you know, this all started by me sending the girls some pictures and some videos of things that I was making, again, because we were keeping each other accountable, not only with exercise, but with good eating. So I've told them about my sweet tooth and showed them some of the recipes that I was making. So, you know, they said this could help people, so I figured, why not? Why not put it out there and see if other people, you know, just want to eat healthier in general or kind of don't know where to start. Hopefully these simple recipes help. And honestly, I am all about simple or just using what I have. I don't like recipes with a lot of ingredients or a lot of steps because it's tedious. And I have 2 small kids and that just doesn't work. Just doesn't. Just have to fill a couple of these a little bit more. Then we want nothing to go to waste. And for those of you who are doing the 800-gram fruit and veggie intake challenge, if you weighed your sweet potato ahead of time and you ate 1 donut, you can account for 1/6 of the donut, as it is making 6 donuts here. Yes, sweetheart?
Do you know how to take her clothes off?
I don't see. Remember I tried before? I couldn't do it.
Well, we need somebody to pull it.
Okay. Well, I don't know how, sweetheart. Okay. Maybe Daddy knows. We'll ask him when he gets home. Okay.
But wait, Mommy, she has to take a bath.
She does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you take a bath, she could take a bath with you.
Yes,
Day in the life. Those of you that are moms, you understand. You understand. So here we go. Yes, I'm using my finger. I'm serving this to my family. If you were serving this to strangers, I would not recommend doing that. But I feel that I am taking way too long, and that's mostly because I am also learning how to talk as I do things. I know that sounds so simple, right? But I encourage you to try it. It's harder than it looks. So I give all those chefs who are constantly going and cooking and explaining what they're doing and talking off course as well because, like I said, it looks easier than it actually is. Okay, so now if this chocolatey goodness is enough for you, you just pop these in your 350-degree oven for 15 to 18 minutes. You want to stick a toothpick in it, make sure it comes out clean. Why don't I throw this in, and then I'll just give you a little glimpse into what the glaze would be like. Let's set the timer. Taste a little batter on my finger. That tastes good. I'm just grabbing a towel to wipe my hands. Notice we've been using a lot more dish towels here, trying to conserve. As we know, it's not easy to get paper towels anymore. So sorry for having to grab that. Anywho, so if you do want to make the glaze after the donuts have come out of the oven, let them cool completely. After they've cooled completely, you can use 1 cup of chocolate chips. Now, if you're paleo, you can do the Enjoy Life chocolate chips, which is what we have here. And Enjoy Life, if you haven't had an experience with this brand, it's very allergy friendly. So when we are around people again, and you know that some friends' kids have allergies, Enjoy Life is a great brand to have on hand. If you're doing keto, the Lily's chocolate chips, also a good option. Again, we don't follow anything. We just try to keep it healthy, keep the sugar on the lower side, and that's about it. So what you would do is you can either do this 2 ways. So the recipe that I had looked up, it had recommended a double boiler with the chocolate chips, 1 cup of chocolate chips, a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, which I would still recommend those amounts. Now, again, you could do a double boiler on the stove. That's where you can put a glass bowl inside of a pot. Or, I have to say I've had a lot of success over the years. I am a big chocolate-covered strawberry fan, and you can easily do this in the microwave as well. Because it is a larger quantity, you might want to do the double boiler. It's very easy to set up. You just want to get you know what? I'll just set it up super quickly, and then we'll call it quits. I will post a picture of the final product. For those that have maybe never set up a double boiler before, I'm going to fill a pot with a little bit of water at the bottom. I'd say a little less than halfway. Right? And you know, it all depends on the size of the pot that you're using too. So we want to get this water boiling. I grew up where if you have water that you have boiling, you have to put salt in it. Even though nothing is going in the water, it's one of those things. You know, people throw salt over their shoulders for good luck. I throw salt in the water. You know, where I was always told, oh, it's not going to boil if you don't put salt in the water, which is not true, but we go with tradition here. Okay. You set up your double boiler, and this is how I will be doing my chocolate, but you don't have to. So this is how I personally melted chocolate in the past. Again, I've done the microwave time and time again. I just would do smaller quantities if you are doing it in the microwave versus, so I would just break it up. Maybe do 1/2 cup of the chocolate chips with 1/8 of a cup of the coconut oil, and then do the other half. But this is very simple. You just put it here. Again, because I'm not going to fully do it now, you would just pour the chocolate chips in with the coconut oil, and you're going to keep stirring it until it's completely melted. Once it does melt though, you do want to let it cool a little bit before you put it on top of your already cooled donuts. Okay, the reason for this is that it'll thicken up, get a little bit more like a glaze versus just being super melty everywhere. Also, when it is hot like that, it can break down your donut as well. So if you want your donut to stay intact, make sure that the glaze has cooled for just a little bit. Okay, so thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this sweet potato leftover edition, and I hope everyone's staying healthy, staying safe. It is a beautiful day to stay inside. Be well, everyone.